All right, here is another kind of question. We've done a little bit of this before, where you have an equation with more than one variable. You can solve it for one variable in terms of the other variables. So if this says solve it for r in terms of the other variables, there's just that one r in there. What that means is the goal is to write it in the form r equals some kind of thing with the other variables in it. So that stuff over there will contain the x, the a, and the h. And that's the goal, is to get it like that. So we're going to do the same thing to both sides of the equation, try to get it looking like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is to move the a over. So I'm just going to subtract a from both sides. That will give you x minus a equals negative square root of h times 2r minus h. And then I don't want to have the negative square root here. I just want the square root. So I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 1. And that will give you negative x plus a equals just the regular old square root of h times 2r minus h. And then we're going to square both sides, because that will cancel out the square root on the right side, and that gives you just h times 2r minus h equals this thing here, negative x plus a squared. Why not write that as a minus x? Save writing one symbol, because you don't have to write the plus if you do it that way. But anyways, we're still trying to get this r by itself on one side, so I'm going to peel away the layers of the onion here to now get rid of this h. So divide both sides by h here will give you this mess, a minus x squared over h equals 2r minus h here. And then we can add h to both sides there to cancel that out, which is just going to leave you with that whole fraction plus h on the left side, and on the right side you've got 2r. And to get rid of the 2, you could either divide both sides by 2, like so, but then you have fractions within fractions, and that's a mess. So I like to think of, instead of dividing it by 2, the same thing as just multiplying both sides by 1/2, and that way you won't have so many fractions within fractions. And it still cancels out, because 2 times 1/2 is just 1, and you get the r there. And now keep in mind we have these two terms that we have to distribute this into on the left side. So we're going to do 1/2 times this first fraction. We're going to do 1 times the top of that is going to be just 1 times anything is itself, so that just gives you a minus x squared. And then the denominator, there's 2 times h, so that looks like 2h. And then 1/2 times h over here is going to come out to be h over 2. But I almost forgot there was a plus there, so it's h over 2 there. And that is equal to r. And that is the solution of that. It's not a number, but we can't get a number when you got all these variables, so we just write an equation that gives you a value of r when you plug in the other variables, a, x, and h. Here's another one for you to do this time. This is the same idea. Make sure that you do this on your own first, and try to solve this for s in terms of t. Here is my solution. s is equal to the plus or minus square root of t squared minus 1. Remember, the plus or minus there is the most common mistake. Anyways, I'll see you later.